Every 4 years, we vote, we argue, we celebrate, we fight for our side to win. But what if the winner doesn't matter? What if the real power lies not in parliaments or Congress halls, but in corporate boardrooms hidden from the public eye? The slogans change, the faces change, but the donors, they never do. In this video, we all follow the money, from campaign donations and lobbying firms to the policies that shape your life. Because when it comes to modern democracy, the game is rigged and the players are paid to keep it that way. At the dawn of the 20th century, a new kind of power emerged. Not kings, not generals, but corporations. Giant machines built to extract, sell, and expand. Rockefeller owned the oil. Carnegie owned the steel. J.P. Morgan owned the banks that owned everyone else. Governments couldn't compete with their money. So they made a deal. Let us rule the people, and we'll let you rule the economy. That deal has defined politics ever since. Fast forward to today, and the world S500 largest corporations now control more wealth than 150 nations combined. Let's decode how this invisible empire runs. It starts with money in and laws out. Corporations spend billions funding politicians' campaigns. In return, those politicians pass laws that protect their donors. That's lobbying, officially. Unofficially, it's a subscription plan for democracy. But lobbying is only the front door. Behind the scenes, the machinery is deeper. Corporations fund think tanks that write the research politicians quote on TV. They bankroll media outlets that shape public opinion. They hire former government officials to ensure every law favors the powerful. When a politician leaves office, they don't retire. They join the board. The salary multiplies. The silence deepens. And through passies and super PACs, corporations can pour unlimited, untraceable money into elections. In 2024 alone, over $17 billion flowed through U.S. political campaigns, most from corporate interests. It's not corruption, it's a business model. Visual, cash stacking over legislative buildings. Narration. This creates what economists call regulatory capture. The referees are hired by the players, and the rules always favor those who can afford to write them. Every few years, the mask falls off, and we see the system for what it really is. In 2008, when reckless banks crashed the global economy, millions lost homes and jobs. But those same banks? They got $700 billion in bailouts, signed into law by the very politicians their lobbyists advised. That wasn't an accident. It was a return on investment. Then came the Panama Papers in 2016, a data leak exposing how world leaders and corporations hid trillions offshore. Politicians promised reform. Yet within months, those same loopholes quietly reopened. And in 2010, a U.S. Supreme Court case called Citizens United declared that corporations have the same speech rights as humans, meaning they could spend unlimited money influencing politics. After that, democracy was no longer one person, one vote. It became $1, one voice. Visual, montage, graphs showing inequality rise, wealth gap widening. Narration. Today, the richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 99% combined. That's not capitalism, that's capture. Corporations have turned nations into subsidiaries, extracting taxes, labor, and even war as profit streams. Defense contractors influence foreign policy. Big Pharma shapes health laws. Big Tech writes the rules for data privacy, or rather, the lack of it. When corporate money rules politics, democracy becomes theater. You think you're choosing leaders, but you're choosing between sponsors, each side backed by billion-dollar donors expecting returns. That's why real reform almost never happens. Minimum wage laws stall. Tax loopholes survive. Climate pledges vanish after elections because reform doesn't pay dividends. Meanwhile, media headlines keep us distracted. Left versus right, red versus blue, while both sides quietly cash the same corporate checks. This is how inequality becomes self-replicating. Money buys power. Power creates laws. Laws protect money. And the cycle continues until someone breaks it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Governments were meant to regulate corporations. But now, corporations regulate governments. They don't need coups. They have contracts. You can't vote them out. You can only buy their products. And until citizens demand transparency, until we follow the money, the illusion of choice will remain the perfect disguise. So next time you cast your vote, remember, the ballot isn't the end of democracy. It's the receipt. And the real question is, who paid for it?